What's good, everyone? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room yet again, always with another one. And yes, indeed, it is another one. So this is where we at. Apparently, the FBI is sending out a warning that the Chinese have hacked the iPhone and Android um, telecom companies, basically. So this is where we at and things like that. And we're just gonna we're just gonna dive off into it, see what's going on, things like that. And we're just gonna, just try to keep aware of what's happening here. So guess what? Let's go here now, and we're gonna dive off into it. Quarters, nickels, and dimes, people.
We've got an urgent warning tonight from the FBI urging Americans to think twice before sending that next text message. Hackers from China have allegedly breached the telecommunications system. Fox 5's Jessica Formoso has more on what you need to know to protect your sensitive information.
A Chinese threat actor, a Chinese hacking group, has penetrated many telecommunication providers in the United States.
And now the FBI is warning Android and iPhone users to be careful when texting one another, urging them to stop sending unencrypted text messages. According to officials, the Chinese hackers hacked into the SMS system.
If you're on an iPhone and you're texting iPhone to iPhone, you'll see a blue bubble. Those messages are encrypted end-to-end and safe. If you're on an iPhone and texting an Android phone, it will come up green. And those are the text messages you need to worry about.
It's known.
Okay, so it's the system that we got going on here to where iPhone and Android, if the iPhone and Android are texting each other, then obviously from what they're saying, it's going to be unsafe for iPhones to text Androids and also vice versa. So if iPhones are texting iPhones, it's probably okay. If Androids are texting Androids, it's probably okay. Which that's some divisive shit within itself. So they need to figure that out. Be honest with you, but it's crazy out here. So yeah, we also know that entities outside of our country are always trying to gain information on us. That's just how it goes. This is the world that we live in. So yeah, just like we try to gain information on other countries too. So it is what it is.
As the Salt Typhoon cyber breach, U.S. officials say the hackers have accessed private text messages and phone conversations of Americans.
Yeah, it is concerning.
All my information is on the dark web. All of it. My social security number, my email address, my name, my address, everything.
Adam Scott Want is a professor of public policy at John Jay College. He says this is serious and concerning.
Most Americans will say, I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to worry about. But the truth of the matter is that the information in your text messages will and can be used by hackers and scammers all over the world to get an advantage on you, to try to scam you out of money.
The FBI and the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency are recommending.
That's where a lot of people be getting those fake ass phone calls from. This is such and such from Calamity Insurance and this and that. Like, okay, what do you mean? And it's the same scam calls that used to happen when we used to have landline phones, to where people would call your home and stuff like that when we had landlines and stuff. I'm a little bit older, so this is not going to resonate with a lot of young people about the landline phones. But if you're my age range and things like that, early 40s and mid 40s and up, you remember landline phones. And yes, you used to get scam calls and stuff like that on those phones. And yeah, now we're getting them on the cell phones now. So that's kind of what that's going to. I get what they're saying.
People use encrypted messaging apps such as WhatsApp and Signal to minimize hackers' chances of intercepting their text messages.
Who fixes this? It's up to industry to fix this.
Experts say not to text any sensitive or personal information, such as your social security number or credit card information. That said, right, there is no telling when this will be resolved. In Hoboken, New Jersey, I'm Jessica Formoso, Fox.
Okay, so yes, it's when I don't imagine me texting anybody else my personal information like that, social security numbers or bank account numbers, stuff like that over a text message. I just can't, see that. You should have your own accounts and things like that, you shouldn't be texting information like that anyway. But, It is what it is. This is just, to keep everybody up on the situation at hand and things like that. So we're going to keep going. Let's check this one out. See what they had to say too on NBC.
A massive ongoing Chinese hack of telecom companies that's possibly intercepting phone calls and text messages in the U.S. right now, leading to an unprecedented FBI warning to consumers. The head of Homeland Security calling the threat, in his words, very, very serious.
It's a very sophisticated hack. I can't speak publicly to how it occurred, but the telecom providers are focused intensely on it.
Officials from the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA, and the FBI say Americans need to protect what they say on their phones with encryption. Translation, if you're an iPhone user texting someone on an Android, there's a good chance your messages are unprotected from hackers. The workaround, using end-to-end encryption apps like Signal or WhatsApp. The hack, dubbed Salt Typhoon by Microsoft, the FBI calling it an espionage campaign.
This is the most persistent campaign the United States has ever seen, from an advanced hacking crew to break in, and it was a matter of time, really.
The FBI saying China was possibly listening in on calls from Senator Chuck Schumer's office and both the Trump and Harris campaigns. The Chinese government denied the accusation.
Phone calls were tapped, text messages were read, voicemails were read, as well as call records.
Verizon said when the hack was revealed, it is, quote, committed to assisting law enforcement in this investigation. AT&T telling NBC News it will, quote, continue to comply with our obligations to notify affected parties. But most people who had call metadata hacked may not even know it, because the feds and their phone provider haven't told them, according to government and telecom sources.
Man, okay, wow. Yeah, so of course, this is coming out now. Things like that. They're not telling us about the hacks and things like that. Panic and stuff like that. I know how it is when you tell people in mass about crazy stuff like this. Everybody panics. And it's just, it is what it is at that factor.
CISA says senior government officials are among the highly targeted that should assume their communications are at risk of interception.
I mean, of course, I would see that very possible. That government officials, high-ranking CEOs, stuff like that, of course, their phones will be the most at risk to be hacked. Because, I mean, listen, look, you some average person that live in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, some damn where they not the Chinese people ain't worried about hacking your damn phone. You ain't talking about shit they want to know about.
But the FBI warning suggests everyday citizens could be exposed too. The advice is to be aware of when your messages and your calls are safe and when they're not.
When you send an encrypted message to me or vice versa, it goes to the telecom, but it's just gibberish. So they'll see that something was sent maybe, but they won't be able to read it.
Using Signal or WhatsApp offers that protection. Same with iPhone to iPhone messages and Android to Android messages. But when you're messaging between different types of phones, encrypting is now recommended.
If we all use encrypted apps, does that mean that we're totally good from future hacks of perhaps the scale of the Chinese one?
As it stands right now, your messages are believed to be safe, according to every cryptographer I've ever spoken with.
Brian Chung joining us now. I mean, believed to be safe, honestly, is not necessarily a vote of confidence in all of this. But one of the other kind of outliers here is actually the telecom equipment. It's pretty old.
Yeah, I mean, some of it is just cell towers and lines. You can imagine that those would be very vulnerable points for advanced hackers to be able to get into the system. Now, we're not talking about 5G towers. We're just talking about, again, kind of that legacy infrastructure that still exists. So barring upgrading all of that, well, there's vulnerabilities will always be there. And I think that's why the FBI and government officials decided to underscore, hey, you know what, maybe people should start to use this encrypted technology, which is pretty remarkable because if we take a step back, in the past, the FBI has kind of not wanted to have to get through encrypted messages if they're trying to subpoena, they're trying to investigate something. Yeah. So it's kind of remarkable that the FBI is saying actually use this encrypted technology that in some cases might add an extra step for them if they were trying to do an investigation.
Right. That makes sense too, because the FBI doesn't want to have to go through certain hoops and hurdles to, get encrypted messages and things like that. I could definitely see that for investigations, definitely serious crimes, things like that. So yeah, I can see how the FBI would not want to do that. But at the same time, though, too, the FBI is one of our American organizations. So, yeah, they would rather, figure out a different way. And I guarantee you, they're probably figuring out behind the scenes that a way that they could do that for serious investigation, stuff like that. They're already probably figuring it out the way that they could do that. That's the reason why they're probably telling you to use that, so the outsiders won't get the personal information of Americans and things like that. So yeah, it is what it is though. The FBI figure out a way to get the criminals that will use encrypted information. They'll figure that shit out. I guarantee you they will.
That's kind of an interesting.
We literally should just be using Signal and WhatsApp to be texting with one another.
Well, again, iMessage is okay if you're doing iMessage to iMessage. Same thing with Android to Android. But if you're going Android to iPhone, if the iPhone is not upgraded to the most recent OS, you might have that vulnerability there.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated.
Okay, so this is where we at right now. You know what I'm saying? Listen, look, people, it is what it is. Watch your information that you send and things like that. Of course, logically thinking, you don't want to send any type of, when you're sending text messages to people or the different phone stuff like that. Of course, don't send your personal information, bank accounts, or, social security numbers, anything crazy like that, which I don't think any normal human being would send some shit like that. But, it just is what it is, man. We have to keep updated on what's going on here. This is what the FBI is saying, that we've been majorly hacked over here. And this is just where we at. So, excuse me. So, yeah, we have to protect ourselves. It is what it is here. And that's how it's going down. But, Cheto, that's what's going down. You know what I'm saying? Mad love to everybody. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say, that, my friends, is the bottom line.